Happy Monday, everybody. My name is Brandon Rose, and welcome to episode 297 of the Xbox in 10 podcast, your weekly source of Xbox gaming news covered in around 10 minutes. Every Monday, this podcast covers new game releases, the previous week's gaming news, and we can all learn an Xbox-related fun fact together. This show's on YouTube and podcast services around the world, so please subscribe on your favorite and leave a review. Xboxin10.com, no numbers, is your quick source for links to all of our podcast destinations, and social media profiles which you can follow at Xboxin10. To start, let's talk game releases. The big game out last week was Sniper Elite Resistance, and the games coming out this week include Mystery Box Journey, Rogue Waters, Journey of Joan, Grasslands, Mechanita, Mimi the Cat, Meow Together, Ambulance Life, a Paramedic Simulator, Big Helmet Heroes, Luck to be a Landlord, Let's Cook Together 2, Moves of Darslan, Space Junk Survival, Under Defeat, Beef Cat Ultra, Fly Punch Boom, Idle Devils, Holy Hunt, Loot Stack Relic Hunters, Shuguro Quest Dice Heroes, and Spot Challenge Volume 2. Now on to last week's biggest news stories, and we have 6 to cover this week. Number 1, Forza Horizon 5 is coming to PS5. Matt Kim at IGN writes, Xbox's popular racing game Forza Horizon 5 is headed to PlayStation. In a surprise announcement, Playground Games announced the most recent Forza Horizon game is coming to PS5 this spring. It will be the latest Xbox exclusive heading to the PlayStation console, following games like Sea of Thieves and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. The PS5 version was developed by Panic Button in partnership with Turn 10 Studios and Playground Games, and will feature the same content as the Xbox and PC version. Furthermore, car packs and the Hot Wheels and Rally Adventure expansions will also be included. This news comes amid growing interest from Xbox in releasing its games on non-Xbox platforms, including PlayStation and Nintendo Switch, with Xbox boss Phil Spencer confirming its intention to support the Switch 2. Yeah, I led off with this story because in the internet world, this is certainly the biggest stories. People continue to melt down that Xbox games are going multi-platform, and for a while I also didn't necessarily, I want to say agree, but fully understand the strategy. However, Xbox has lost the console war, it is over, so we need them to continue to make money, to continue to bring great games to the platform, to the Xbox ecosystem, and importantly for me, as part of my Game Pass subscription. So this is only going to help. And Forza Horizon 5, for all intents and purposes, is one of Xbox's very best games. Number 2, Xbox boss dismisses idea of removing the Series S parity clause. Frazier Gilbert at Pure Xbox writes, Ever since the Xbox Series S was first released back in 2020, we've heard very occasionally from developers who have had a tough time getting their games onto it. Baldur's Gate 3 was the most high-profile example to date. In fact, during the saga, it was mentioned that Xbox had parity clauses in place for the Series S and Series X, which essentially meant that a game's features needed to be the same on both consoles. A one-off exception was eventually made for Baldur's Gate 3, which saw local split screen being ditched from the Series S version at launch. However, speaking in an interview with Destin Legary this week, the Microsoft Gaming CEO dismissed the idea of removing the parity clause entirely, suggesting instead that the Series S has become more important than ever for developers to target because of the wide variety of devices that are available on the market these days. Here's what Phil had to say about the topic during the chat. Destin, quote, would you ever consider dropping or adjusting the Xbox Series S parity clauses with the Xbox Series X? These sort of requirements. Some developers have brought up difficulty optimizing for the Series S. Can you tell us any more about the plans there? End quote. Phil Spencer, quote, I think about it in almost exactly the opposite way right now. With the rise of handheld PCs and even the introduction so far of the Switch 2, as developers were building on a more device spec. I actually think we have a real advantage here, because we've been targeting the Series S for quite a while, so when we look at a Steam Deck or an ROG Ally, or something, we've got the Series S version of the games that's more tailored to the device specs of a lot of devices that frankly are getting introduced right now. And frankly, the scalability of engines today allow them to scale, end quote. Quote, I'm playing Indiana Jones on the Series S and it looks great, so it's definitely capable of playing current generation games in a great way, but most of your games that are going to be out there are going to be supporting these different devices, and the Series S spec actually maps pretty well to the devices that we're seeing introduced right now. So I think it's actually an important design point for teams going forward, that kind of power performance mix that you see in the Xbox Series S, end quote. These are obviously some Xbox fans that are in favor of the parity clause being dropped for the Series S, but we also very much understand Phil's point here, and the handheld situation mean it does kind of feel pointless to remove now. If developers want their games to be accessible on the likes of the Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck, Asus ROG Ally, and others are going to need to target the Series S spec anyway, or something close. So it doesn't make sense on Xbox's part to remove the parity clause for a console, especially when they're planning to build a handheld as well. And to that last point, I couldn't agree more. I've really gone both ways with the Series S over time, but now in the handheld space that we are entering and have been in, to me, it does make a lot of sense. I really do hope that the next generation, though, Xbox really does focus on one mainline, big, beefy powerhouse of a console, and then also have their mobile handheld option for the gamers. Number 3, Xbox Game Pass records growth after Indiana Jones Call of Duty, but hardware sales drop. Matt Kim at IGN writes, during today's Q2 investor call, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella revealed that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has reached 4 million players. In an otherwise no-hum earnings report for the gaming division, a bright spot appears to be Machine Games' newest release, which has garnered critical acclaim, multiple awards, and now millions of players. While sales numbers are hard to pin down given its availability on Xbox Game Pass, 4 million is still an impressive number of players, considering not many people knew exactly what to expect in a modern AAA Indiana Jones game. Elsewhere in Xbox land, Microsoft confirmed that Game Pass PC grew 30% last quarter and set a new quarterly revenue record. On the cloud gaming side, 140 million hours of streaming has been logged. All this helped Xbox content and service revenue grow 2%. There's still work to be done, however. While the Game Pass figures were stronger than expected, overall gaming revenue declined 7%, and Xbox hardware revenue declined 29%. What does this all mean? Well, Microsoft still has ground to make up in the console and hardware space, but its continued investment to Game Pass appears to be paying off. Game Pass growth on PC makes sense given Xbox had a slate of big game releases last quarter that includes Indiana Jones, but also Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Microsoft Flight Simulator, all of which were available on Game Pass day one for Ultimate subscribers. I really don't expect, at least for this generation, to ever see that hardware revenue really skyrocket in a positive direction. That's just not where Xbox's focus are. They want to grow those Game Pass numbers, they want to grow the cloud gaming numbers, and to me the only way they make another big splash in the hardware space is at the start of a new generation, especially if they get ahead of PlayStation with the 6, and that would be my expectation considering PlayStation just launched the PS5 Pro last year. Number 4, People Can Fly announced as Gears of War E-Day co-developer. Marco Lutz at MSN writes, People Can Fly has revealed that it's been working as the Coalition's co-developer on upcoming shooter Gears of War E-Day. This doesn't come as a massive surprise, given that the studio is intimately familiar with the franchise. People Can Fly had a similar role in the development of Gears 1 to 3, and was the lead developer on Gears of War Judgment. This likely confirms that Project Maverick, which has been known from PCF's financial reports to be a collaboration with Microsoft, is Gears of War E-Day. Quote, returning to collaborate on the next chapter of this legendary saga is both a privilege and an exciting opportunity to build upon the intense, visceral action and rich storytelling that fans have come to love. We are deeply grateful for our partners' trust and support on this journey, end quote. PCF CEO Sebastian Wojciechowski commented. This partnership with the Coalition is pretty vital for PCF, which has been under a bit of financial pressure in recent years, and cancelled several ongoing projects, including games that were in development with external publishers attached to them. This is awesome for many reasons. I mean, as noted in the story, they have been tied to the Gears of War franchise for a very long time, even leading the development of one game in Gears of War Judgment, which I don't think anyone would really argue is the weakest of all Gears games, but it doesn't mean it was a bad game. I still had fun with it. And I am excited about this because that means they are getting help, so we should get this game sooner than later. My expectation is next year, and I can't wait. It's been a long time for a Gears pop, and I love that we're going back to Marcus and Dom. Number 5, Summer Game Pass returns in 2025 to feature more than 40 leading game publishers. Heidi Nicholas at True Achievements writes, Summer Game Fest will officially return in 2025. Last year's event included many shows, from the Xbox and Call of Duty Showcase to the actual Summer Game Fest Live, and so we are hoping for more major news at this year's SGF, hopefully more info on all those upcoming Xbox exclusives. Quote, on Friday, June 6th, Summer Game Fest returns to show you what's next in video games from more than 40 leading game publishers, end quote. The announcement tells us, adding that the show will be live from the YouTube Theater in LA, quote, followed by SGF Playdays from I Am 8-Bit and a new Thought Leader event in Los Angeles, all happening June 6th through the 9th, end quote. Last year's Summer Game Fest was packed. It started with the Guerrilla Collective Showcase and wrapped up with Ubisoft Forward, with everything else in between, Devolver Direct, Wholesome Direct, and the major Xbox Game Showcase and Black Ops 6 Direct. That Xbox Game Showcase brought us the announcement of Doom: The Dark Ages, a release date for Age of Mythology Retold, 2025 release windows for Fable, South of Midnight, and Atom Fall, and a whole lot more. Some of those major announcements have been narrowed down their release dates. South of Midnight arrives in April, while Doom: The Dark Ages arrives in May. Cannot wait. We actually have some dates for this event. It's the Super Bowl of gaming every year for me, and we had arguably the greatest Xbox showcase of all time last year. So what do they have in store for us this year? Time will tell. And number 6, BioWare confirms it's downsizing as it doesn't require full support from the studio for Mass Effect. Tom Ivan at Video Games Chronicle writes, Electronic Arts is downsizing BioWare as the studio switches its full attention to Mass Effect 5. In a blog post, BioWare General Manager Gary McKay confirmed the studio is restructuring following Dragon Age The Veilguard's release in late 2024. With the next Mass Effect game not requiring support from the full studio, he said, an unspecified number of BioWare staff have been transferred to other teams within its parent company EA. Quote, now that Dragon Age The Veilguard has been released, a core team at BioWare is developing the next Mass Effect game under the leadership of veterans from the original trilogy, including Mike Gamble, Preston Watiomic, Derek Watts, Parrish Lee, and others, end quote, said McKay. Quote, in keeping with our fierce commitment to innovating during the development and delivery of Mass Effect, we have challenged ourselves to think deeply about delivering the best experience to our fans. We're taking this opportunity between full development cycles to reimagine how we work at BioWare. Given the stage of development, we don't require support from the full studio. We have incredible talent here at BioWare, and so we have worked diligently over the past few months to match many of our colleagues with other teams at EA that had open roles that were a strong fit, end quote. EA recently lowered its revenue forecast for its current business year, partly due to what it called the underperformance of EA Sports Football Club 25 and Dragon Age The Veilguard. This makes sense, disappointing for all those who have been displaced, and really no excitement here. Mass Effect and that original first trilogy are some of the greatest gaming experiences I've ever had. I love Knights of the Old Republic, but what a fall from grace for the studio. It really started with Mass Effect Andromeda, then we got Anthem, which both of those games had really fun gameplay, but they were just missing the BioWare magic of the story. I'm not a Dragon Age fan, so I never played those games. But now that they've downsized the studio, I mean, just call it like it is. This is their final shot. If Mass Effect does not hit, I believe firmly BioWare will finally be shut down. As always, we end our show with a fun fact about Xbox, and I wanted to share some fun history facts for the video game industry. Credit to Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. Video Game History Foundation's massive digital library is now open to the public. After a brief tease last week, the Video Game History Foundation has officially thrown the virtual doors open to its massive digital library. Designed to be a free access resource for researchers, historians, and video game fans, the VGHF Digital Library currently offers more than 30,000 curated files spanning 50 years of video game history. The nonprofit group says that visitors will find out-of-print video game magazines, never-before-seen game development assets, artwork, promotional materials, and more gaming relics here, with more than 1,500 of them being full-text searchable. I want to highlight this because this is so cool what this organization has been doing. For years at this point, I've been part of their monthly video game magazine subscription that they sent me a nice sealed old copy of a random video game magazine just so I can personally preserve some of the history. Go check out the website, click around, it is fascinating. Love what they've done here. Thank you all for listening to the Xbox in 10 podcast, your weekly source of Xbox gaming news covered in around 10 minutes. If you like the show, please subscribe to your favorite podcast service, share with your friends, leave a review, and follow on all social media at Xbox in 10. This past week, I haven't had too much time to game because work has been crazy, but the little that I did has been on Marvel Rivals, continuing that ranked grind, and oh, what a joy that can be at times. My name is Brandon Rosa. You can follow me at Xbox@Rosa93. Hope you all have a great week, stay safe, and keep on gaming.